Sky Mobile sponsors the transfer window on Sky Sports News.
Andy, I want to talk about Joao Cancelo and Manchester City. You were on the show a couple of days ago and you said Barcelona are leaving chaos in their wake over transfers. Are they doing it again?
Well, at the moment, they're in a bit of a spot. They need to create room on the wage bill to sign Cancelo. Cancelo's been ready for this move for a very long time. And let's be honest, City and Cancelo really need this to happen as well. But Barcelona have got very little financial manoeuvre, wriggle room really at the moment, which is tough. Now, funnily enough, one of the deals that Mark was talking about earlier, that the possibility of Ansu Fati to Brighton. Of course, when they locked him down for the long term, he's on relatively big wages now, especially when you consider he's only 20 years old. Bear in mind that he's a player they felt fully invested in the future of. They gave him Messi's number 10 shirt, etc., etc. And that is why, as he struggled for fitness, they've been struggling to shift him in the last little while because of those wages and the fitness. So if Fati goes, maybe that gives them the opportunity to get Cancelo. Now, Joao Felix, another player who, having left Chelsea at the end of last season, there's been big question marks. Atleti don't want him. Where might he end up? Now, he is about probably third on the list for Barcelona. They would consider him as a possibility. And Xavi has said we would consider him as a possibility. But first, I need a central midfielder. And most of all, I need a right-back. So we're very, very close to deadline. But that first domino, which is Cancelo, still has to fall.
What happens if they don't get the Cancelo deal done? What happens to him? Because City don't want him and we're nearly on the deadline.
Best player ever to train with an under-23 side? I mean, you're talking about someone who is, on his day, one of the best fullbacks in the world. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, there were question marks about his attitude and demeanour from Pep Guardiola, and those followed on directly from issues that Fernando Santos, the former Portugal coach, had with him at the World Cup when he replaced him with Manchester United's Diogo Dalot. So Cancelo really needs a fresh start.
Mark, Barcelona have got players they can't register in their squad at the moment. Cancelo's sitting in a hotel, not knowing whether he can sign for them. Explain to me, why would any player want to go and play for them?
Because it's Barcelona. Because it's one of the greatest clubs in the world. Yeah, exactly. Quite simply, they have a brand of football that is far-reaching, and playing at the Camp Nou in that environment with those players and that history will attract any player really, and that's why. And it's a real mess, and it surprises me when you look at the financial problems that they've faced over the last couple of years. You know, there was reports a year ago that they had debts of in excess of €1 billion. And they have been selling off chunks and assets to try and, bring players in and to do things and to make things work financially. And perhaps what they should have done when they were selling off big chunks and big assets was bring in young players that would be on a project and a process for 10 years, and that would stop them having to go into the market every single summer to try and rebuild and rejuvenate that squad. But they didn't really do that. They signed, experienced players that were on big wages, and they're just constantly trying to play catch-up. So I think at some stage, surely they just have to say, right, we need to reset the whole thing because this is just clearly not working.
Well, they should have done, Mark, because that was their identity, producing those young players. Going out and buying superstars for massive fees and massive contracts were something they always took the mickey out of Real Madrid for. And then they became what they ridiculed, really. That's what's happened with Barcelona over the last 5 to 10 years. But it was a chance for them to reset when this really hit the buffers, when Xavi first took charge. Because you look at the young talent coming through there. We talked about Ansu Fati. You talk about Nico Gonzalez, who's now left the club. Gavi, Pedri, players like that. But still they decided not to. So this is all a situation of their own making.